Hi! This video is going to show you what you can do if you have any excess starter. Like I've said before, sometimes when you start with the whole sourdough, you rapidly expand your mother starter and then don't know what to do with all the excess because you can't bake fast enough. So you can discard it, but there are a couple things you can do if you don't want to waste it or discard it. So I actually haven't had much extra, but I've made quite a large batch today because I want to dry some starter out. So I have a couple of jars. What you do is you feed your starter so that it becomes active and bubbly and happy, as you can see. And then I just take some baking sheets and I cover them with baking paper. I just use a plain baking paper. Don't put anything on the paper to grease it, just leave it as it is. And then all you do is you take your active starter, pop it onto the sheet, and then just spread it. You don't want it to be too thick because then it's going to take a long time to dry out. So what I find is in the cooler months, it can take up to about 5 days to dry out properly. But at the moment with the weather heating up, I would think this is probably going to take about 2 days maybe. And what I do is I keep it in the oven, obviously without the oven switched on. I don't want to cook it, but I keep it in the oven during the day and overnight. And then I just, if I am cooking something in the oven, then I take it out and just put it somewhere safe until I'm done, and make sure that when I put it in the oven is cold. Yeah, so just like that. If you don't have a baking sheet or a cookie sheet, you can just use a chopping board and cover that with the baking paper, and it works just as well. Good morning. I want to show you the progress on the starter that I'm drying out. So this was left in the oven overnight, and I didn't have enough space for all the starter I was doing, so this I've just left on the dining table overnight, and you can see that they're at different stages. This is still really wet here. Let's bring it up so you can see. So this section is still very wet, nowhere near dry, and in the corners it's where it's going the lighter color, that's where it's starting to dry properly and curl. You can see this one that was on the bookshelf. The side of the paper is curling up, that's completely fine. So this is nice and dry already. I'm not going to move it too much because it's going to snap, but this area still has a lot of drying out to do. So I'm going to put it back on the shelf, pop that one back in the oven just to keep it out of the way, and we'll see how it looks tomorrow. So that's the progress. See you tomorrow. All right, this is 4 days of drying. We have had quite a lot of rain all day today. Odd, but yet true. So you'll see that the paper has all crinkled up. You can see it a lot on this one, and in the thinner areas it's already come apart. So what I do is I just break these into small shards and put them into a Ziploc. That's all. So just make them into as small pieces as possible so they don't take up that much space. Pop them into my Ziploc and then keep them until I'm going to make something else with them. What you can do is rehydrate this to make starter that you can use in baking your bread. I haven't done it yet, but I'm going to try that soon because I think it might be quite helpful if I just try it out and see how it goes. But what I do usually do is make myself some seasonings. So this one, I wish you could smell it, it's delicious. This one is starter and cinnamon powder. And sometimes I just take a little sprinkle on top of my coffee in the morning. This one, which I use quite a lot and I'm going to be making more of now, is the starter with dried rosemary and smoked Malden sea salt. And I use this a lot when if I make mashed potato, I'll add it in. If I do a lasagna or some kind of pasta dish, I sprinkle it on the top, which helps to make a really nice crust. When I've crumbed fish, actually when I did the fish, I did this one. This is a salt and vinegar spice that I got, so dried, and mixed it with this, and then I mix this in when I make my mixture that I'm going to crumb the things with. So it really is quite delicious. Yeah, so there's I think the possibilities are endless. You just have to become creative and add it to whatever takes your fancy. So there we go. Dried starter, none gone to waste. Perfect. Right, all done. Small shards of starter, dried out starter, ready to be made into seasoning at some point tomorrow. Have a good day, everyone. Stay safe. Wash your hands. Bye.